For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives have been called back to Washington, D.C. to vote on the default deal brokered between President Joe Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The 99-page agreement to avoid a national default increases work requirements for food and cash aid programs except Medicaid, mandates permits for the Mountain Valley Gas Pipeline, a pet project of Democrat Joe Manchin's, and resumes student loan debt payments. Republicans had pushed for an end to Biden's student loan debt cancellation plan to no avail. Leaders call it a compromise. It gets its first consideration in the House Rules Committee today, where MAGA Republicans are expected to denounce it. But many Republicans and Democrats are supporting it, though progressives have also slammed the bill, voicing opposition to work requirements for aid recipients. Environmentalists are also objecting to the Mountain Valley Pipeline approval. Peter Anderson, Virginia Policy Director with Appalachian Voices, said in a statement singling out the Mountain Valley Pipeline for approval in a vote about our nation's credit limit is an egregious act. He said it would deny basic legal protections, procedural fairness, and environmental justice to communities along the pipeline's path. Virginia Democrat Senator Tim Kaine is pledging to file an amendment to strip federal permits for the Mountain Valley Pipeline from the agreement. It's expected to reach the House floor for a full vote tomorrow. Uganda's president signed an anti-homosexuality act into law Monday, punishing some homosexual acts with the death penalty. The charge of aggravated homosexuality is defined as sexual relations with people infected with HIV, minors, and other populations deemed vulnerable, including disabled people. LGBTQ activists and a lawmaker in Uganda promptly filed a legal challenge. Frank Mugisha, executive director of the advocacy group Sexual Minorities Uganda, said in a statement the president has legalized state-sponsored homophobia and transphobia by signing this bill into law. He said U.S. President Joe Biden joined the United Nations in condemning the law as a threat to efforts combating HIV in the region. Biden also threatened sanctions. A Japanese court has ruled the government's policy against same-sex marriage is unconstitutional in a closely watched decision that supporters say is a step towards marriage equality. The rulings can be appealed to the Supreme Court. Russia's continuing its daily strikes on Ukraine's capital, Kiev. At least one person is dead. 2 others were killed yesterday in the Donetsk. Russia's also accusing Ukraine of launching drone strikes on Moscow. Ukraine denies it. FSN's John Beaver reports.
Authorities in Moscow say nobody was seriously injured in a drone attack in which 2 buildings sustained minor damage. Russia's defense ministry is calling it a terrorist drone attack and says it was launched by the Ukrainian government. They claim 8 drones were involved in total, 6 of which were shot down and 2 were forced off course. In Kyiv, the latest airstrikes killed 1 person after several buildings caught fire. I'm John Beaver.
Sudan's warring military generals have agreed to extend a shaky ceasefire after it expired last night for another 5 more days, according to a statement late Monday by Saudi Arabia and the United States. The extension comes after mediators called out the warring sides for specific breaches of a week-long truce and pressured both sides to respect ceasefire agreements. Since fighting erupted April 15th, there have been 7 declared ceasefires, all of which have been violated to some extent. In the U.S., the Texas Republican-controlled House of Representatives has voted to impeach scandal-plagued Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton after a months-long investigation resulted in 20 charges alleging sweeping abuses of power, including obstruction of justice, bribery, and abuse of public trust. Edwin J. Vieira has more.
Texas Representative David Spiller was among one of the Republican members of the committee who brought forth the articles of impeachment.
No one person should be above the law, least not the top law enforcement official of the state of Texas.
Under Texas law, Paxton has been temporarily removed from office pending a Senate trial. Paxton responded to the impeachment saying corrupt politicians in the Texas House are demonstrating that blind loyalty to Speaker Dade Phelan is more important than upholding their oath of office.
They have denied me the opportunity to present the evidence which contradicts their politically motivated narrative, and they are showcasing their absolute contempt for the electoral process.
I'm Alex Gonzalez for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
9 people were injured during a mass shooting in Hollywood, Florida Monday night, including 5 adults and 4 children. Authorities say a fight broke out. At least one gun was pulled and shots were fired. At least one person is in custody. Police are looking for more suspects. The Gun Violence Archives reports 263 mass shootings in the U.S. so far this year. In California, the trial of a former prison guard accused of sexually assaulting incarcerated women at the Federal Corrections Institute, Dublin, located in the San Francisco Bay Area, begins today. Advocates for the victims are calling for their early release and mental health care. Many are immigrant women. Some of those who came forward now face deportation. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.